So I just thought I'd like to catch a couple of minutes of video of my almost daily walk around Bangwad Reservoir and Lake. For those of you that know Singapore, it reminds me of Fort Canning in the middle of Singapore. Beautiful place to walk. Right in the middle of town. This is about as much like Fort Canning as you can get without it being Fort Canning. The lake's over there. The vast majority of it is in this canopy of trees. And if it's a quiet day, you really won't see many other people, you know. And it's Sunday today, so maybe it will be quiet. It's rather nice. So I'll keep you appraised. I've just passed the 1 mile mark, which is about a quarter of the way round. It's a 6.2 kilometre or 4 mile round walk to get back to where the bike is. So yeah, I'll get back to you. The sound of running water is always there coming off the hill. It gets quite a lot of rain. It's been unseasonably wet, and there's always water running off the hills to go into the reservoir. Really rather nice. So here we are. It's a total green out. Isn't that nice? It's still quite cool today after the big storm has gone through. It's cooled the weather down quite a lot. You can see it's blown some of this down during the night. And also it's cool under the trees as well, you know, the oxygen level is higher. It's what trees are for. If only people would realise it. Here's a small part of the answer to the CO2 build-up. Plant more trees everywhere, every last square foot. The only problem is you can't cut them down and burn them. Not unless you have fancy CO2 capture on the burning process, you know. You have to mimic nature and dig a bloody great big hole and bury the wood and let it rot away. Some other generation's coal, you know. Anyway, I'm going into the realms of fantasy now. Right, I reckon I'm about 1.5 miles, between 1.5 miles and 2 miles in. And this is my first waypoint, really. I call it the garden. And it's really rather nice. The man that lives here, I don't know if he runs a market garden or whether he's just a great gardener, but he takes it very seriously. He's got his own little greenhouse going there, and he's even beautified his ditch. There's lots of really nice plants in there. You see him working in there quite a lot. And there is the lake. Keen photographer. I've been sneaking cuttings from some of these plants. I don't know if they're going to take or not, but we'll see. I nicked a couple of cuttings last time back, 6 months ago, from this tree here, which you also can get in Tombstone. Forget the name of it now, but I bought some cuttings out and they've grown about 6 foot tall now in this climate. But the cuttings I took from this plant have struck and they're fine. So that's the garden. That mark on the road there is for runners, and that says 3 kilometers in. And this means we're approaching the second waypoint, which I call the watering can. The watering can. Is the man going mad, you might say? Well, yes, I have been for years. But there is some method in it. Because over on this seat here, someone, a long time ago, put a watering can. And it's been there for at least a year that I've been coming around here. And this is my second waypoint, because if you give it another few steps around here, basically you're halfway around, because it's 6.2 kilometers to get back to the bike. So really, by the time I get to that corner, I'm halfway around. Rather a nice shot across the lake there. There's the dam. So on the way out, you know, I start from over there and I walk across that dam to even get to this point. You'll see the far end when I get to the bike. Halfway around though. So this is what I used to call the roadworks, because up until 2 weeks ago this whole section of the road was out, and what they did was they dug it up and put a tunnel underneath it to drain that stream coming down from the mountain into the lake through here. And boy, the water's really gone down. You see that that little bit there, that was under the water when I first got back here 2 months ago. Since then the water must have dropped, you know, at least 2 feet, despite the rain we've had. So anyway, sometime in the next century they'll probably clear away the rest of the stuff, but this is what I call the roadworks. Little waypoint here, what I call the first bike wash. The locals quite often use this little pool here to park their motorbikes and wash them. Don't say anything, Graham. 4 kilometers in. And this is what I call the second bike wash. And people also use this to wash their bikes, but also themselves. Convenient bathing spot. So don't say anything, Graham. And you can see here that we're nestled right in the valley. The beautiful green sides of the valley. It's like this all the way around, you know. And this was just it's about half a mile from our house, and up until 6 months ago I never even knew it was here. Can you believe that? After 20 years I never knew this little oasis was here. Stunning. And this, 4.5 kilometers in, is what I call the CAF. It's a little restaurant. Very incongruously placed. And I know that hills and dales don't register on these videos very well, but 4.5 kilometers in, it's pretty well uphill all the way now till I get back to within sight of the bike. Just down here is the original stream. It's the original stream which must have flooded this. When they built the dam. Just over here is what I call the Utopia pool, because it reminds me of the job I did up in the mountain in Tonglu in mainland China, which was a reality show called Utopia, and one of the lakes that was dug for it had a little swimming thing just like that, and so I call it the Utopia pool. And literally within a few steps of that is 5 kilometer mark, which to me signifies the final phase of the route. But unfortunately for me, it's also the steepest phase coming up. I call this the dead pool. I don't know if you can see it in there, but it's a big place, and there are kind of chairs and signs of human habitation, signs that people hang around there, but I've never ever seen a solitary soul there. It's rather quite spooky. The dead pool. Getting close now. This sharp downhill curve here is leading into the steepest uphill bit of the whole circuit going around this way. Really is quite steep, so pity we can't make use of the momentum, but when you're walking you can't. It doesn't do you any good. It's almost as difficult walking steep down as it is steep up. But this curve here I call dysentery drop, for reasons that I'd rather not go into. And that mark there signifies 5.5 kilometers. And coming around this bend here is the start of the uphill climb. Holy crap, this is a steep bit. This is about as steep as anything on the walk back into Tombstone from Shefflin Monument, which, God help me, I shall be doing again soon, knock on wood, from the other prompt tip. Okay, it's easing off a bit. Okay, this is the top, and somewhere on the road just here is the faintest of faint marks, which not always I can see, which says 6 kilometers. So round that corner you'll come in sight of the dam again, and where I left the bike. So we'll see it shortly. So here we are back on the dam where I started, and there's the bike. 4 miles to the very step according to my GPS. And you'll notice that I'm now riding my old bike again. I gave Tom his bike back today. Very nice of him to loan me his brand new bike for 2 months. I put 1,000 kilometers on it. But I took this one in yesterday to have the oil changed, have the back brake relined, you know, the tires pumped up and whatever. So it's good to go. It's got 40,000 kilometers on it now. It's quite a few years old, and I'll probably be buying another one my next trip back. Something more like Tom's bike, better than this, bigger than this. But this has been really good, knock on wood. This is a Yamaha. I'll be getting a Honda next time. So anyway, end of walk. Thanks. Bye bye.